Happy Friday morning. It's a little after 5. Clayton, Central Ave. So nice to be with you today. You know, my daughter on a normal day, my daughter, her call time, her wake up time is 5:45. She's ready to roll with the day. On a normal day for my boy, all I gotta do is utter the words, hey, you wanna go to the couch? That boy is ready to get up out of his bed and go have coffee with me on the couch. And we got a special Friday morning here today. I can either choose to set my clock for 5 or 4, or I could just be a train wreck and not have my coffee and stumble, into the room at 5:45 and try to wake up my daughter. But it's good to be out in the morning. And today we have some special things. I want to first highlight love, hell, and identity formation. Love, hell, and identity formation. That's going to be the main message here today. But for those of you who don't know, and then those of you who do know, and you're like, what does that guy do actually? The MLS is the March Leadership Services. So what we do is it's an international network. No, I don't go everywhere, and no, I don't know everything. But if I'm not connected to it, I might be connected to somebody who is connected to it. So it's an international network, leveraging ministerial experience, business experience, athletic experience, and letting those things culminate to provide leadership service, counsel, a mentorship. And if you look as a MLS as let's just say a university of mentorship, if you will, we break it down in 7 concentrated areas. And we're talking about, this is not just something that I began 4 or 5 years ago, which I did, but this was birthed way back even when I was a senior in high school still. We're talking about basically 100 years worth of family mentorship and legacy, and so there's a big picture to this that a lot of people don't know, which you wouldn't be able to know yet, right? But there's a lot going on, beautiful things. So the 7 concentrated areas we have are identity formation, leadership counsel, strategic growth, collegiate scouting, agent consultation, professional development, and then the beautiful aspect of community service and mission. So today want to focus on that initial foundation, which is identity formation. So notice the 2 words there, identity and formation. Identity is a foundation before title, role, purpose, objective, identity. Because if we don't establish our identity where it's not only contingent upon what we are doing, we're set up to have a roller coaster of a life, But when our identity is found in not what I do, but who I am, that really creates a healthy foundation. And we say formation because yes, there are foundational experiences, maybe even one dramatic foundational experience or multiple ones, but also something that's forming through our whole life too, obviously. Something that I am an outlier with is people always talk about, don't feel like you arrived, you never want to feel like you arrived, just keep pushing and pushing. And I get that. I'm not, trying, I coach, I do all sorts of stuff. I get that, I understand it. But at the same time, feel like you arrived. And then work from that base in confidence and counsel to others. You've got to allow yourself to feel like you have arrived, and don't go sit at, don't go just drink your margarita the rest of your life and not do anything and poop on your purpose, but use that as a confidence builder to say, you know what, I do have a voice. I've been through some things. So when we talk about love, I was blessed to get some great love growing up. My mom, my dad, my baby sister, my grandparents, holy cow, aunts and uncles and cousins and coaches and businessmen when I was young and dumb who really affected me, and really great, ministers and key coaches. Really was blessed, and it's important. I know we don't all have maybe that, but love is so important because security is important. And for me, really, at the end of the day, that comes from my faith in God. Because hey, people can come and go, people can have opinions, but for me, and so I just, I know security and love is so important. Also, going through hell, I was, as I became a young adult, I was able to collect some quick experience really, really quick. I had about 12 years of full functioning ministerial effort, 20 years of, collaborated business development experience, sales experience, multiple years of athletic experience through either scouting, coaching, playing, networking, something going on. And I had some beautiful experiences in my life when I was younger, but then also I went through some horrible hell in my life. Holy cow. And I'm pretty happy-go-lucky, but also I have no problem saying I feel like I lived more before 40 than 90% of 90-year-olds. I've been blessed to experience and see things, but also have gone through some real hell, stuff that not everyone does realize. So when we talk about identity, we're talking about discovery, and that's something that we feel very passionate about with the MLS, is to help people maybe slow down, and not to tell them, hey, this is your identity necessarily, but it's more allowing them to slow down enough to say, oh, that's my identity, coffee, cheers to you. It's the only, I like a local place, but Starbucks is the only thing around here open. Glad some guy told me free parking from the diner before 8. Hey, that was nice. Glad he was around. But hell though is something that can form that fortitude in us. It can help those experiences culminate into this beautiful place of awareness and perspective and counsel. And that formulation continues throughout our journey. I've I've had highs, I've had lows. I've always, there's always someone who would help a guy out. If I don't get help, it's because of my pride. And some of that can be good, right? Have a backbone, want to provide for yourself. But there's been a time where I don't know what the meal was, but I was out east and someone gave me a meal. There was a bunch of people, and I don't know if the thing cost $1,000, how many multiple $100 it was, but that meal was sure expensive. Holy cow, expensive. It's like a whole mortgage payment on that plate in front of me. I'm sure it was quite good. So I've had the $800 steak, $1,000 steak, whatever it was, I don't know. But I've also been at times where someone could have helped the guy out, but when I was young, trying to do things on my own, trying to have my own self-reliant pride, I remember loading up with barbecue sauce at Burger King just so I can get more in my belly. So we have highs and we have lows, maybe times that we got, seems like we're on cloud 9 luxury, and then times where it seems like you're scraping the barrel. Times where it seems like everybody, the revenue stream is coming. Sometimes it's like, holy cow, should I just do another job? We all go through stuff. But when we talk about identity formation and we characterize love, what we're talking about is coming to a base of security within yourself that you know who you are, at least enough, some measures to it, where it is not associated to your performance metrics. And then hell helps fortify us and make sense of experiences for all that stuff to pull together. It's like the work of the apothecary back in the olden days, when they would make that sweet incense. They had to take all these herbs, and it actually took more bitter herbs than sweet, and then they would have to culminate it all together. And in Old Testament history, they would then offer that up to God, and that was like what that sweet smell, that incense was. So what that shows us is, it takes more bitter stuff than sweet, but it's not just getting bitter over it. It's letting all of our good and bad experiences culminate and offering them up in a thankful heart, in a giving heart. Man, beautiful things can happen. So the key point here today is, yes, I'm highlighting some stuff about the MLS, some overall picture, but the big takeaway is identity formation. If you already have a good sense of your identity, I just want to encourage you that is still more important than the performance that you're at in your job right now, where your bank account is, maybe where some of your family stuff might be at. Look, your identity, and if you can hold on to the truth of who you are, you can get through anything. And if you're a little bit unsure of what your identity is, I encourage you to slow down a little bit. Like, don't be worried about people's expectations of you and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and take some time for yourself. And if you want to talk a little bit, or you want me to connect you with somebody, it's important that we slow down to discover who we are, what makes us tick, and I'll kind of wrap this up with this. Your identity is not subject not only to your performance metrics in the current, or where, if you were to add it up scientifically, where you would project to be in 5 years. And it has nothing to do necessarily, you're not subject to your past. You're not subject to how other people have wronged you. Your identity formation is so deep and so rich. So before we get into leadership council and strategic growth and all these other, let's say, departments of the MLS University, the foundation of it all is identity. And so I just want to encourage you with those two words, identity formation. That's a big part of my heart in helping people discover that and chat about that. And again, that there's a foundation of identity, but then also an ongoing formulation of it. We love you. Have a great weekend. MLS, we love you.